What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another edition of the Pace and Space podcast. My name is Ja Morant here with my guy Sam Oshtry on Pickpot Media. We are coming to you immediately following the Sixers' loss to the Chicago Bulls, and I'm in a quite different mood than I expected to be hopping on this stream right here, Sam Oshtry. So we're going to dive into what went wrong and what was the first disastrous stretch that we've seen from this Sixers team all season. An absolutely maddening way to lose that game, that these Sixers leading for everything but the final 3.2 seconds of this game, where the offense completely fell apart at the end. But before we dive into that all, Sam, how we doing? How we feeling? What's your initial impressions? Are you in better spirits than me?
Yeah, I mean, let's just get right into it, right? They scored 4 points in the final 7:20 of the game. They didn't score a single point in the last 4 minutes and 26 seconds of that game when Tyrese Maxey hit a free throw. Not a single point. And this was a team that had been the top clutch offense in the NBA. They had the number one clutch offensive rating in the NBA. And coming into this game, they had an 80 net rating in the clutch. They were outscoring opponents in the clutch by 80 points per 100 possessions. They had been phenomenal in the final 5 minutes of close games. And tonight, they just didn't have it. Maxey and Embiid are the only two guys who attempted a shot in the last 5 minutes. It was just your turn, my turn between those two. And we'll talk about Embiid and how he finished that game. But the shot selection was awful down the stretch from him. And this was the first game he really closed in a close game. So a lot to get to from that game. But it was really just an awful fourth quarter and clutch performance, which has been uncharacteristic for the Sixers this year.
Yeah, and I'll start by saying, like, this team was electric out of the gates in this game. They were that first half was probably the best stretch of basketball that they've played so far this season, and the bar is fairly high by that metric here. They've played good hoops overall, but that was the best that I had seen them look. The way they were getting out in transition, the way they were just like playing what had become the new brand of Sixers basketball. And then we get into the crunch time of this game after just basically letting the Bulls just sneak their way back in, chip away. Josh Giddey getting a bucket here, distributing here, who, by the way, pretty sick triple-double. Josh Giddey played well today. But for the Sixers,
all season, we got to talk about him, but we'll get there. But we got to talk about him.
But when we get to this final stretch, like, what is the most frustrating part to me is they just abandon everything that has worked all season. The things that I've been gloating about and thrilled about with this Sixers team is this team-oriented basketball, all this movement, all these guys touching the ball. We saw none of that in the end of this game. They didn't even have a good shot for the final 5 minutes of the matchup. Their best was their look at the end, which, by the way, why are we just drawing up last-second shots for Quentin Grimes, man? I like Quentin Grimes. He's a fine basketball player. He should not be the guy that you're living and dying with the decision with the ball in his hand. And this is now 2 games that they've felt the effects of that. Now, that was a good look at the end there. I can't dispute that. You live with that specific set. But why is that not Tyrese Maxey's shot? Even get VJ Edgecombe downhill. Like, there's better options. Again, the shot was actually pretty clean, but I just don't love the concept of Quentin Grimes being the guy. But the bigger point is the entire stretch where it fell apart. It turned just to heliocentric ISO basketball, fadeaway three-pointers from Joel Embiid off what leg. What are we doing down the stretch there?
Yeah, let's talk about the final shots in this game and the Celtics game Friday night. Celtics game Friday night, at least they were looking for Maxey to get a look. Today, Maxey was completely used as a decoy in the backcourt, take attention away from him. He's your best player. You can't have 2 games now in your last 2 close games where Maxey doesn't touch the ball and doesn't even attempt a shot. He's your best scorer. He's your best player. He's your best shot maker. He needs to be the guy, even if it's a contested look, to get off a final shot. And today, he was just used as a decoy. He didn't even cross half court on that final possession. And look, they got a good look even Friday night. I know that Embiid, he got it off after the buzzer and he missed it anyway. But, like, that was a fine look after Quentin Grimes was dancing for a little bit. Embiid was open. Same thing with Grimes tonight. Great look. Fine. I don't care. You get the ball in your best players' hands in those final moments. And the Sixers just didn't do that in back-to-back close games now against the Celtics and tonight against the Bulls. That has to change moving forward. I don't care if you want to use Maxey as a decoy. And look, you could also make the argument that Maxey didn't have it late in that game offensively. His legs weren't there. He was obviously tired, which is the result of playing the most minutes in the entire NBA, which he has up to this point. So that's just going to happen, especially they have back-to-backs coming up. But the ball has to be in his hands. He's your best player on the team, and that's back-to-back games where that can't happen.
Yeah, and we got the return of Jared McCain tonight. Not an overly promising return for the second-year guy. It was his 24th NBA game. The speed looked fast for him. He's going to be completely fine. That was his first NBA basketball in 11 months. I'm not worried about it. But that's going to be a key to relieving Maxey of some of these minutes here. He clearly was not ready to make an impact tonight, and that's not something that I'm panicking about Jared McCain. but not exactly shaking up the minutes variety that we would hope for here. Um, what? So I don't want to say this is a Nick Nurse loss, but I do think there was a lot that Nick Nurse didn't do that I think
Well, let's talk about the Embiid playing in the final
okay.
stretch, right?
Okay.
Because that's a Nick Nurse decision, but I don't blame that on Nick Nurse. At some point, you have to play a guy like Embiid in that closing group, and this was the first game. Like they've been really good in the clutch and really good in the fourth quarter because he hasn't been playing with that close group. And your identity completely shifted in those final 5 minutes where you're a team that plays up-tempo, fast-paced. They went to complete half-court looks, couldn't get anything in transition, couldn't get anything in the open floor with VJ Edgecombe and Maxey working. It was all the basketball we've seen playing around Embiid over the last few seasons. That hasn't been your style. That hasn't been what's led to being one of the best offenses in the NBA this season. But that's what it became when Embiid was on the floor in the final minutes. So I don't mind that he played those minutes to in the closing lineup because he's going to have to at some point. Like Embiid has to be all in your closing unit. But to completely switch your style to going back to just Embiid touches in the mid post, Embiid touches in the high post, Embiid operating as your hub. That hasn't been your style that's been successful this year. So I didn't like how they approached the final few minutes, even if I didn't have a problem with Embiid being out there.
Yeah, I'm in support of Joel Embiid being out there at the end. And I see the comments here. We got chiming in. Why did they not have Bona in for the last 30 seconds on defense instead of Embiid? He's a complete liability on defense. I will note he had 4 blocks tonight, and I think this was
great block down the stretch. Him and Maxey both, when they couldn't score, like the Bulls weren't scoring a ton in those last 5 minutes. The Sixers were actually pretty good defensively in the clutch. They just could not score the ball at all. But Embiid had a huge block late in that game.
Yeah, he's certainly not prime Joel Embiid from a defensive standpoint, but I'm encouraged by the growth, and you're just going to have to play through the growing pains is pretty much my answer to that. So I agree with playing Joel Embiid for the closing stretch. He's got to figure it out. It's going to be a work in progress all season for his body, for his skill set, all these kind of things. What I did have a problem with is it wasn't even just there is still effective offense that can be run out of Joel Embiid in the mid-range there, where we're doing the dribble handoffs, we're doing some pick and pop stuff and that kind of thing. It was none of that down the stretch. It was just ISO, fade away, take a deep jump shot there. That's what we can't live with. And it was both Maxey and Joel were guilty of that, where it was just, let me dribble the ball for 15 seconds and then get into a fadeaway. That's not good enough, and that's not what this team has done all year.
Well, let's talk about why they were so successful in that first quarter. They were targeting Nikola Vucevic relentlessly in the pick and roll. I mean, the Bulls were foolishly switching a lot of those pick and rolls. And Maxey, every time he had Vucevic on him, recognizing the switch, he was torching him. The Bulls even went zone late in that first quarter, what I think was the reason to hide Vucevic, and Sixers were still able to get off threes. But that was what was working. They were not targeting Vucevic at all in those final few minutes, and he is a really bad pick and roll defender. That's always been a knock on him. He just isn't a good defender. Instead, they were giving the ball to Embiid in the mid post and letting him work. And look, I mean, Embiid's midi, 12-foot midi, has been money throughout his entire career. It's not a bad shot, but you also are capable, or in his prime, he was capable of pulling Vucevic to the rim and getting something, either getting to the free throw line, which we know is Embiid's bread and butter, or at least getting something to the basket. He was just settling. I mean, the 3 was late in the shot clock, so I don't have that big of a problem with it. But the 2 catches on the left side in the mid post, where he just settled for those mid-range jumpers, he can obviously hit that shot. We know that at a really high percentage. You also can get into Vucevic's body and bully him for a bucket at the rim. And that's what I was so discouraged by, that he didn't do that.
Yeah, but I also think there's the nights where you can tell where Joel's just feeling it in the mid-range, and tonight was not one of them, straight up. He shot 7 of 21 from the field tonight. I agree with your concept. That is a money shot of him from his career. This was not a night where that felt like the right call by any definition, and they just continued to spam that button there and go that direction. So this was a collapse here. When did it click for you that they might actually lose this game? What was the moment?
Well, here's the biggest, the Sixers have been really good in the clutch and really good in the fourth quarter. They have the best fourth quarter differential in the entire NBA. A lot of that clutch performance has been without Embiid in the closing lineup.
And I do think it's diluted because of the comebacks that they've had. The two
for sure
comeback. It's been incredible numbers. There hasn't been a second that I've believed this is absolutely who they are as a team yet.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say, it all started in the third quarter, and this wasn't an anomaly where the Sixers were just awful in the third quarter. They've been terrible in the third quarter all season. They're the second to last in the NBA in third quarter points. The only team that has fewer third quarter points is the New Orleans Pelicans, which is barely a basketball team right now.
They won a game tonight.
Did they? I was about to say, I didn't check that score. They won the night. They beat
They
the Hornets
did.
at LaMelo. All right, congratulations to them. They finally got a win, even though Zion is out for at least a week at this point. Still, though, the Sixers have a minus 36 third quarter net rating. That is the worst in the NBA, and they have the second worst offensive rating in the third quarter and the worst defensive rating. I could read you all the numbers in the world of why they've been awful in the third quarter, but whatever they're doing at halftime is not working right now because they've been an awful third quarter team, and that's originally where the Bulls were able to come back. And in the fourth quarter, the Sixers just ran out of gas. So this has been a trend all season where the Sixers have been really bad in the third quarter, and that really needs to change moving forward.
Yeah, no, this has been a theme. And tonight they were outscored 28-20 in the third and then 29-16 in the fourth quarter there. But to your third quarter point, why do you think that is the case? Is this both teams going to halftime? The other team makes adjustments in a way that Nick Nurse is not prepared for? Is this a foot gets let off the gas, that they have a little bit of a lead? It's absolutely a theme, and I can't exactly put my finger on why this keeps occurring.
Yeah, I don't know. There's teams that have always been really bad in third quarter. Some teams really good. I don't know if it's necessarily
been a bad team. Like, this is not just a this year thing too.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the diagnosis is. Like,
I don't either.
It's hard. Like, you don't really make as much adjustments as you would think at halftime. Like, you're really making adjustments throughout the games, throughout timeouts and stuff like that. You're not completely switching up the game plan. It's maybe tonight a thing could be is they were up 20. Right, that they had a big lead and maybe they take the foot off the gas a little bit, but it's been a trend all season. I don't really have an answer for why they've been bad in the third quarter, but they've looked like a completely different team. They're not running as fast as they are in the first quarter, where it's like, all right, this team is getting out in transition, playing really fast. They're gonna they don't force a ton of turnovers, but when they do, they're going to convert those to transition points. You're just not seeing that in the third quarter. They're not approaching the beginning of that quarter like they are the first.
Yeah, I do lean. I don't have the exact answer either. I do lean towards it's like an energy, and I don't want to say effort thing. I'm not questioning that, but it does feel like there isn't the same focus that they show in the first half. So from opening tip here, and tonight felt like the perfect game for me to like, let's step on their throats. Let's finish this game right now. Let's get Tyrese Maxey out of there for the entirety of the fourth quarter. And they let that chance slip between their fingers and lost the game outright as a result of it. So any flowers that you do want to give to this Bulls team? Josh Giddey was excellent tonight. I do have to tip my hat there. I love Modest Buzelis. My initial question that I had phrased to you back when I thought this was, going to be a Sixers victory was, does this say more about the Sixers being a legitimate good team, or that the Bulls have played or punched a little bit above their weight class here? Are you buying stock that this Chicago Bulls team could be kind of good?
Yeah, I am.
Wow. Okay.
And they're not a contender. Like, I don't think the Sixers are a contender either. Both these teams are in that middle tier of the East, where either one of these teams could be like a 4 or 5 seed. Really good basketball teams. And I think the Bulls are going to stay in that range. Josh Giddey is an all-star. He's been incredible. There are 3 players in the NBA averaging 22, 8, and 8. Do you know who those 3 players are? 2 are pretty easy.
What is it? 20 what?
22, 8, and 8 this season.
One's Luka for sure.
The other one, yep. And the other one's pretty easy too.
Giannis?
No, Jokic.
Okay, sure, yeah.
It's Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Josh Giddey, the 3 players in the NBA averaging 22, 8, and 8. Josh Giddey's the only guy doing it on over 40% three-point shooting. This is a guy 2 seasons ago when he was on the Thunder got benched in the second round of that playoff series against the Wolves because the guy couldn't shoot. They were leaving him wide open. They were killing the Thunder spacing because they would put Giddey in the corner, and whoever was guarding him would just pinch in, and it completely clunked up the Thunder spacing because Giddey couldn't shoot. He was a 33% three-point shooter that year. He has now become a 40% three-point shooter on over 4 attempts per game. That has opened up, and we know what he is as a straight-line driver. He's an incredible passer. I mean, that pass to close the game to Vucevic, who was over 4 from 3 going into that. But Vucevic somehow is shooting 54% from 3 this season. He's developed into a really good three-point shooter too.
He's a strange player, man. He's such a strange player.
But he's really added the three-pointer to his game. Even last year, he shot 40% from 3. So even with the three-pointer, like, his offensive arsenal opens so much where his defensive liabilities aren't even that big of an issue if he's like this offensively. But back to Giddey, who like I said, is playing an all-star level. When the three-pointer is a legitimate threat and guys have to close out hard on you, it opens up so much for your straight-line driving, which he's already really good at, for his passing ability, which he's an exceptional passer, great vision. He is developed into an all-star, and that's elevated the Bulls to an entirely different class. Vucevic, again, is having a great season. Buzelis, we both love Buzelis. He was kind of quiet tonight. He has to second-year guy. There's going to be nights where he's just doesn't have it. He's kind of, you forget he's even on the floor for certain stretches. I'm still really high on him. Kobe White hasn't even played yet. Like, Kobe White is going to be their secondary creator, and he's going to run a lot of second unit action for this Bulls team. He hasn't even played this season yet. Hopefully, he's
too.
coming back
missed
soon.
tonight too.
Yeah, and he missed tonight too. This Bulls team is really good. They play so fast, and they play together. It's a balanced scoring attack. I'm high on this Bulls team. I really am.
Yeah, I think they're fun. I'm not as far as you are with them. I'm definitely not as far as you are on Josh Giddey, and I'll point to, like, he might make an All-Star game this year. I don't think teams are still going to respect the jump shot. I think he could shoot 40% all year, and people are still going to think it's a fluke.
How? If it's throughout an 82-game sample size?
I guess.
Maybe through 7 games, but even last year, I think he was a 37 or 38 three-point shooter where you saw he was more confident in the shot and the volume increased.
Yeah, I give him props for, like, shooting through it. I still kind of feel like it's fake when I watch him shoot, and he was 37.8% from three last year.
He's making them, though.
He is. I will note, like, that Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso trade, like, one of the bigger win-win trades that I can remember in NBA 100%. History. Like, both teams made out completely on that, so shout out to him. And I was kind of critical.
1-for-1 swap.
Yeah, I was kind of critical of it at the time. Like, didn't make a ton of sense to me. Whatever. That obviously worked out from both sides there. So maybe Josh Giddey is the foundation. I still have my questions if this is, like, legitimate. Like, he's not Luka Doncic, man. He's not Nikola Jokic. He's not.
Yeah, I mean, no one said. I'm not saying he's those guys, but his numbers are comparable to them right now. I'm not saying he's on their level. But when you have that shooting ability and your threat to shoot on top of what you are as a driver, as a passer, and coming out of the pick and roll and the pace he plays with, he has complete control of every game that he plays in as the Bulls point guard. It's really impressive what he's done. And the shot is real. Like, this is now back-to-back seasons where he's a threat. And the more he's capable of shooting them, more he should shoot them. So the volume should increase even more as this year goes on. And guys have to close out harder. They just do. And that opens up so much more for him, but most importantly, the Bulls offense.
33.2% career three-point shooter for what it's worth.
That's because how bad he was the first few seasons of his career.
Yeah, for sure. But that is still a part of this equation that he has shot 29.
No, because let him develop. Let's go through right now. 26% three-point shooters first year. 32%. 33%. Gets traded away from OKC when they benched him in the playoffs. 37.8% last year, now at 40.7% this year. The last 2 years, he's on over 4 attempts per game. Like, the improvement is pretty obvious on those numbers.
Yeah, keep him away from any high schools, man. Let's make sure we keep this guy on the straight and narrow there. That's your belief in Josh Giddey. But a little bit of a low blow on my end.
Massive low blow. Come on.
Yeah, my apologies.
That
was uncalled for, but you did just beat the Sixers in a way that did break my heart a little bit. First time of the season. This is my first disappointed in the Sixers post-game stream there. So anything else that you got on this game? I texted you some quite fiery takes at halftime. I don't know if you want to dig into that conversation. I don't have quite the passion I did a couple minutes ago, but I still feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrese Maxey was leading the NBA in clutch scoring coming into this game. So it was an uncharacteristic performance. Again, he was obviously tired. He didn't have his legs. He did have a really nice block, really nice defensive play late in that game, but he just didn't have his legs, and it wasn't good all-around shot creation. Like I said, there was only 2 guys that even attempted shots in the final 4 minutes when the Sixers didn't score a single point. It was Maxey and it was Embiid. That's not going to cut it. You have to keep your team approach going.
Yeah, shout out to Rocky DeVertis fans saying they'll disappoint us plenty more times this season. Broski won't be the only time. Unfortunately, quite right about that, my friend. That is par for the course for this Sixers team. But I'm going to dive into it. I'm breaking the envelope open. It is a bummer I have to do this after the Chicago Bulls game. But Tyrese Maxey, man, he's unbelievable. And I know that sometimes I do dig into your Knicks fandom a little bit here.
Which doesn't exist.
What basketball game did you go to this weekend?
I was at Knicks Bulls. I got to watch the Bulls, and the Knicks killed them.
Yeah. Well, and then nonetheless, to get this back on track, this is not me trolling you, Sam Oshtry. Tyrese Maxey's the best guard in the Eastern Conference. He absolutely is. He absolutely is.
It's not even. It's not even like a conversation. It's 11 p.m. at night. This is the last conversation I want to have right now. But just to tell you of how this works, you got to do it over a long period of time. Like Maxey. Like Jalen Brunson, that's where you're going with this. We want to say Maxey
better than him. Tyrese Maxey's better than Jalen Brunson.
Best player on one of the best teams in the league for 3 consecutive seasons now. We're now going into 4 consecutive seasons. He's been All-NBA back-to-back seasons now. He'll be All-NBA again this season. Some guys have been there, done that.
So will
And
Tyrese Maxey.
the newness of Maxey, where he's definitely going to be an all-star, and if he lasts the whole season, he'll probably be All-NBA. And now he's the best player on a good team. That's the newness to him. So it's so exciting, and everyone loves it. Maxey's awesome. He's incredible. But there are levels to this. That guy's been doing it for a few seasons now as the best player, as an All-NBA guy. That like, it's just people don't like laud over it anymore because it's not as new. But Brunson's still right there as one of the best scorers in the league.
What I dismiss from this pushback is you're acting like Tyrese Maxey's a rookie who's played 15 games in the NBA. The dude has.
No, but this is the best. This is the best he's looked his entire career. It's not even close. And this is the first time he's been the best player on a good basketball team. He's been either the best player on an awful basketball team or like a secondary option.
For sure. But he's now got the keys to the franchise, and he has yet to hit his full prime here. This is my case for Tyrese Maxey. I have never seen a player in literally the 100th percentile of speed and pace and quickness and downhill also be a straight up elite shooter in the way that he is. That you can't defend that. And he's also got a mid-range game now. He's got a floater game. And he's not a dude that is just doing this for the first time. I've seen him with my own eyes score 46 points against Jalen Brunson at Madison Square Garden to elevate the Sixers team, to pull up and hit a three-pointer at the logo to extend this team and give him a chance. Tyrese Maxey's done it with the bright lights on it, man. He's the best guard in the Eastern Conference. He's surpassed Jalen Brunson. He's a better defender than Brunson. I would make a case he's a better playmaker than Jalen Brunson. I think, if anything, this is a very even debate, and I think Tyrese Maxey has surpassed him and is only going to get better.
It's not even close. Like, we're 7 games into the best season of Tyrese Maxey's career. Again, Brunson has been a back-to-back All-NBA guy. He's been the best player on one of the best teams in the league. It's not even close. It's just the newness of this new Maxey jump and development. And yeah, Maxey's incredibly
325 NBA games. 325 NBA games.
But this is the best he's ever looked.
Sure.
You're discounting the last 2 seasons when Brunson has been so much better. We're now 7 games into a new year when Maxey's been incredible. But the last 2 seasons, we're going to discount that when Brunson's been back-to-back All-NBA guy and Maxey's been nowhere even close to anyone's consideration for an All-NBA.
He's been close.
To All-NBA, he hasn't been close. He wasn't even an All-Star last year.
He's been an All-Star. He's been an all-star. Like, he's a top. 2 years ago, he was a top 25 player for sure.
Again, Brunson's been the best player on one of the best teams in the league. This is the first time Maxey's been the best player on his team, and it's a good team, but we'll see where that goes. It's just there's levels. There's just levels to it, and Maxey's incredibly fast. Maxey's incredibly fast. His speed is unmatched. There are different ways to being a great playmaker and being a great scorer. And Brunson's methodical approach of how he creates for his teammates and can create a good shot for himself or his teammate every single time is unparalleled, even if it's a different approach where he doesn't use straight line speed like Maxey does.
And you're going to hate this take right here, but I think Maxey's style of play equates to winning more. That you can play more team basketball, getting off ball cutting, the defense that he provides. He isn't a cone in the way that Jalen Brunson straight up is.
Luka brought a team to the NBA Finals, and we all don't even care about Luka's defense anymore or think about his speed or anything like that. He brought a team to an NBA Finals not being a fast player, not having straight line speed. So I don't want to hear about different approaches. There's no one approach to winning basketball.
Sure. That's fair. Luka Doncic, a better defender than Jalen Brunson, by the way.
Nah, I wouldn't go there.
Yeah, for sure.
Nah, for sure. Luka is an awful defender.
So is Jalen Brunson.
Here's the difference. Brunson puts in 10 times more effort than Luka does defensively. Brunson's just so small. He has limitations as a defender. Luka's thing is a lot of effort, and he commands so much offensive attention and has the ball in his hand so much where I get it. Same thing with Brunson. Like, guys who have the ball that much offensively as point guards just are going to run out of energy to play defense, but it's all an effort thing with Luka. Do you remember those finals against the Celtics where he got reamed out? I mean, the guy, and it was the dumbest trade in NBA history, but the guy was traded because he wasn't conditioned and couldn't play defense.
But the maddening part about the Luka Doncic, you're right about the effort part that Brunson does absolutely try harder. The maddening part about the Luka Doncic conversation, and this is a hill that I die on, when he does flip the switch, when he does compete defensively, he's a totally fine, debatably good defender there. It just doesn't happen a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, the guy's 6'7", like Can't believe I said that. The guy's 6'7". It's crazy. I can't even say like someone's height without thinking that. The guy's 6'7". Like he should be a better defender. Like he has the physical attributes to be a good defender. This is an irrelevant conversation.
Fair.
There are levels to this. We're 7 to 8 games into an NBA season. Let's see what happens by the end of the year. Everyone will be reminded when the playoffs come again. Who is the better player? Who's been the better player for the last 2 years?
Quick 6-7 note here. I am thankful for the Halloween costumes for the NFL commercial. Let's make this so mainstream that it's lame because I'm sick of this thing going on.
We're way past that.
Yeah, I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative of that because once it has made its way into NFL commercials and parents dressing up as Halloween costumes, that thing is no longer cool, and I am in favor of that. Let's put the 6-7.
It's lasted for
a while,
like 3 months,
longer than that.
How does it last that long?
Dude, I don't know. I still don't even quite get it. I know it
I don't think anyone does, but like it's so like I don't like pay attention to that stuff usually, like those trends. But when it's so infiltrated in my head, I can't say someone's height without like thinking about it and getting distracted. It's a bad day.
The actual origin from it is one of the dudes on Overtime Elite. Like he's like a TikTok dude that this became his thing, but he's a basketball player.
Is that really true?
Yeah, like that became his thing. He wears number 6'7", and he made the dance and all this. I don't have the full details of it, but I'm like 99% sure that's the story of how this originated in itself.
Speaking of TikTokers, 15 minutes, 0 points, 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. It was a confidence game where he felt like it looked like he didn't play basketball in almost a year because he hasn't. Jared McCain, of course, we're talking about. And he got nothing on the court, and it might be a few games until we get something from him. But I'm still, of course, high on McCain, and he should be a big part of this rotation.
Yeah, I feel you, Rocky the Birds fan. It's everywhere. The McCain conversation, and by the way, I tweeted out one of my own TikToks of me and Jared McCain recreations from last year. So
that never got to me. Never shouted that out. You deserve.
I think it did, and he probably thinks I'm just making fun of him. Would be my guess there. That's probably what I'd interpret.
I deserved more for that.
I agree. I've put all effort into that. So whatever. I'm going to make sure I showcase these when he's playing well. So he tries to take it in the right direction. But yeah, I am a Jared McCain guy. I am a believer. It definitely looked like the game was moving quick for him today, but it's his first NBA basketball game in 11 months. This is a dude who's played 23 games last season. He had the meniscus tear, and then this season being interrupted by the UCL tear. Those are injuries that you can't play, like you can't even imagine yourself playing basketball. They're sit on the sideline type injuries. And he talked about keeping himself in shape with the UCL injury that he was able to run, that kind of thing. But you still can't actually play hoops whatsoever. So I'm not panicking with McCain. To be honest, this is even a little bit, I would say, on the early side of when I expected him back. Paul George has been doing full practice for a month now, and we've yet to see this dude play a game. Jared McCain just picked that up 2 weeks ago, and they threw him to the fire, which I'm kind of confused what's going on there.
Yeah, I think the Paul George thing is you want to be more cautious just because of his age and everything and the injury history there. There's no reason. Also, when you're winning at this level, It's why rush him back? I do think it'll be sooner than later, very soon actually, that we see Paul George.
Tomorrow, maybe.
It's going to be interesting to see how he fits in this lineup and what the rotations looks like, what the substitution patterns look like, because they really haven't been healthy at all this season for a full rotation when they're going to have a really deep team. And what are those closing lineups going to look like? Where we saw it today did not work. I don't know. I don't necessarily disagree with the lineup, but I disagree with the approach of tonight in those final few minutes. What's that going to look like if you put Paul George and Joel Embiid on the floor, where you're just getting older in those final minutes, where your identity for the first 43, 42 minutes is to play really fast and have this youthful, athletic team on the floor. So it's going to be interesting to see how Nick Nurse handles that.
Yeah, and I will say for all this team is perfect. We don't need McCain back. We don't need Paul George back. Tonight was a night where I think Paul George would have been extremely helpful. Just down the stretch there, I know he's not going to be the go-to guy, the 9-time All-Star that he's been through his career, but just having a guy that you can say go figure something out for this possession would be really beneficial to this team. So I hope Paul George is back more in the short term than the long term. But let's put a book on this.
I want to give you one more Sixers note.
Okay.
They've been incredibly lucky as a shooting team and as a defensive shooting team. NBA team opponent 3-point percentage. The Sixers allowing 30.9% from 3. That ranks number 1 in the NBA in opponent 3-point percentage. That's luck. Like, as much as you want to say defensively, they're a below average defensive team. They're really not a good defensive rebounding team at all. One of the worst in the league, actually. They have defensive limitations. It's not that their defense is forcing really tough looks from three. They've just been really lucky to start the season where opponents are missing open threes at a higher rate against them. Like most teams, whoever's number one in the league in opponent 3-point percentage by the end of the year is usually around like 37, 38%. So that number is going to drop a lot. And then on the flip, the Sixers are shooting 40.6% from three. That dipped a little bit tonight. They're still shooting 40.6% from three. That's fourth in the league. That's also going to dip. That's also lucky 3-point shooting where, yeah, they're generating pretty good looks with Maxey and Edgecombe getting downhill and even Grimes running that second unit. But if you have the best 3-point percentage in the entire NBA at the end of the year, that's usually around somewhere like 38%. So that's going to dip. So the shooting luck is going to go away at some point. The teams are going to make threes against them at a higher rate, and they're going to miss more threes. So I was prepared to say that after this win tonight, but now it's like 2 losses against the Celtics, and the Nets aren't a real basketball team either, but against the Celtics and the Bulls over the last few days, it's like the shooting luck is starting to wear thin a little bit, but they're not going to have that much luck moving forward.
Yeah, I think their 3-point percentage is more real than the opponent's one. That I think they have gotten good looks. Like that stuff, I kind of see a little bit of correlation with it. It definitely is going to even out the opponent stuff there. And the rebounding, like I do think that's going to be very tied to the Joel Embiid conversation of how much more verticality does he have, how much more athleticism. Like he jumped tonight more than I think we've seen him jump in any other game, and that's progress to me. I know we're grading on a curve, and I'm giving him a ton of the benefit of the doubt here. I still think any way you slice it, you're going to need more of the Dominic Barlow type guys as an option to help out in these categories, and would love him back, who's been missing for 2 weeks with an elbow cut now, which is bizarre to me as well. But it's the Sixers, these things just seem to happen. We'll see how that all shakes out there. I also wanted to give one quick shout out, Kelly Oubre Jr., man. He's just a hard hat dude that I want in my corner. I thought he was excellent again tonight. He's got a knack for just drawing like a crucial offensive foul at like a key point in seemingly every game. His stats not as eye-popping as some of the past, but he still had 18 points. He had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, was 7-11 from the field. The way he does like an excellent job of getting downhill under control and just like using his physicality. He's a spark plug for this team. He's an energy guy. Kelly Oubre Jr. has gone from a guy that is like, this is probably the trade chip that we're talking about to we might be talking about an extension after this season.
Yeah, and I know we talked about the ideal Sixers starting lineup when Paul George eventually comes back. I've kind of changed my mind where I think it should be Maxey, Edgecombe, Kelly Oubre based on how well he's been playing, and then Paul George if he's playing well, and Joel Embiid, especially because I've really liked how I've seen Quentin Grimes run the second unit. I think when you have a second unit with Grimes, and if Edgecombe stays in, and then McCain now coming in, like that's a really good second unit as Grimes as your primary ball handler, and Edgecombe kind of playing off him as a complementary ball handler. So I think Kelly Oubre should stay in that starting lineup, and Grimes goes to the bench in terms of your starting 1, 2, 3. But yeah, you're right. Kelly Oubre has been awesome. And with McCain coming back, I think he's going to have a really good, important bench role, and this team's going to be deep.
Yeah. I don't know how you can take him out of the lineup, and he's just knocking down threes. He's hit two or more 3-pointers in every game this season so far. Yeah. It's been unbelievable there. And Quentin Grimes has more playmaking chops than I gave him credit for. That stood out to me in pretty much every game this season, that there is a little bit of a offensive savvy for setting up opponents there. So let's close the book on the Sixers versus Bulls, move around the rest of the NBA a little bit. And I want to start front and center with the Ja Morant stuff, man. So Sam, I'll let you set this up for me, because I feel pretty anti Ja Morant and kind of always have been, that I had to take 3 years ago of the Grizzlies should trade Ja now and build around Jaren Jackson Jr. Triple J, and also a very flawed basketball player and a guy that I think like has his issues in itself. But the Ja stuff, man, I don't know how you come back from this. He directly quit on his team. He directly has been suspended due to conduct detrimental for the team. He was back up. He showed yesterday. This feels like the beginning of the end in Memphis, if it isn't the end already.
This is the 3rd straight season he's been suspended by either the league or his team. Like, nobody's asking him to be a leader. He's obviously can't be anything close to a leader of a basketball team. You're asking him to be a professional. Forget how much money you're getting paid. Well, you know how much he's getting paid. Even if you're making $10,000, you're asking the guy to just be a professional and show up and be there for the other people that he works with. And it's like, at some point, punishment and discipline doesn't work. As much as you can discipline a guy, you just got to cut ties. And that's where we're at with the Grizzlies. Obviously, he was extension eligible, and there wasn't even a conversation to give him an extension because the Grizzlies don't want any part of it moving forward. It becomes really hard to trade that contract where he might become untouchable around the league. Some stupid team will take a chance on him, but probably they'll take a chance on anybody at this point. But like at some point, like you can be such a diva or so annoying to deal with if you bring that much value to your organization. Forget basketball, in life. Like if you bring that much value to organization and your organization's success, then you can be that much of a diva. Nobody likes to be around you, but at least you can justify it. He hasn't done that. And as I throw it to you, I'll pull up a graphic here, but he hasn't had the production that everyone thought he would 5 years ago. I'm going to throw up this graphic, and you're going to see the decline in his production over the last 5 years in terms of his drives per game. They're down. His points per game, his three-point percentage, his field goal percentage, his attempts at the rim. So every part of his game is diminished. He's lost his athleticism. He doesn't even talk about guys that don't try on defense. Yeah. He does not try on defense at all. He's constantly ball watching. He's a bad point of attack defender. It's just like it's not even worth it for the Grizzlies to try this Ja Morant experiment. And I tweeted this the other day, but he's taking an approach out of the Jimmy Butler playbook, like the exit strategy Jimmy Butler playbook, where number one, what Jimmy Butler did was just not try in a basketball game when he wanted out. And that led to saying comments and the Heat suspending him due to conduct detrimental to the team. The next step was, I don't even remember. What was the next step? I guess it was getting suspended. The third step was saying you lost your joy for basketball. And Ja Morant has checked all those boxes. He stopped trying in a basketball game tonight. He completely gave up on his team, and it was so obvious. He made comments after the game, after the Grizzlies coach reprimanded him in front of the whole team. He has completely lost his ability to play for that franchise, and that franchise has lost their ability to control his actions. It's just we're so far past the point of no return with him in this organization, and maybe him in his time in the NBA, because it's just a maturity thing. Like how many more opportunities can you get to just be immature? Yeah, you're not posting your gun on IG Live. Congratulations. Maybe that's a step in the right direction. But by the time he actually becomes mature enough to be a winning basketball player, he might be 40 years old. It's just time. I don't know what organization would touch him. That would be a dumb organization. His time as a winning basketball player or being a good basketball player is over.
Yeah. So you nailed the point about the principle of life is the better you are, the more baggage that you can carry here. The Ja Morant baggage is far outweighing the production at this stage of the game. And like the frustrating part is, to me, this is simple stuff. And if you want to talk through, I will remove the banner below so we can get a full view of this. This is the on-court production that we're speaking about here, that we are not only, as I try and find this, here we go. We'll go this way here. The on-court production. So take us through. This is a little bit of just his regression from a statistical standpoint. I also have some rim numbers I want to pull up as well.
Yeah, so look, and one of these seasons he only played 9 games when he was suspended for 25 games because of the gun incident, and then he came back and he got hurt. And so this is that one season's a little flawed, but you see it. Points per game down every single season to its lowest point over the last 5 seasons. And 21-22 is really where he came onto the scene as like, this guy could be a future face of the NBA. The Grizzlies were a 2 seed that year. It's like this team is next up. And then every year since then, it's been more drama, more immaturity, and worse on-court production. The shots at the rim, this is a direct correlation to his athleticism and his ability to get downhill. And that is diminished every single year. It's cut in almost half. It was 21-22 season. It was at 9.6 shots at the rim per game. That is now at 4.7 so far this season. The 3-point percentage has gone down every year, and he's shooting an abysmal number from 3. His field goal percentage down. Drives per game, which is also correlated to shots at the rim per game, and points per game, down. He's not getting to the rim. He's lost athleticism. He can't shoot. He can't defend. So forget about everything else. He's an electrifying player when he's playing at his absolute best. He's electrifying. The athleticism, the swagger that he plays with, whatever it is, he's a really fun player to watch. It doesn't equate to winning anymore. It just doesn't.
Yeah, no, you're right. And just the at-rim frequency percentage by season, these numbers coming from Kevin O'Connor here. His rookie season, 49%. And this is what you think of Ja Morant, is flying through the air, attacking the rim. Second season, 42%. Third season, 43%. In 2023, it dipped to 40%, then 39% in 2024. It was 33% last year and has been 28% so far this year. He's basically cut that in half, and that changes entirely who he is as a basketball player. That is a guy who his entire production is built upon him being a dude that is getting after, being highly athletic, attacking the rim at a high rate. And then when you factor in the baggage, this is not stuff that is like, we're asking you to, be this ridiculous leader or change in this major way as a human being. We're asking you not to whip a gun out on Instagram Live, man. That should not be hard. That should be common sense stuff.
Easier said than done, Sean.
I don't think it is. I don't think that is true there. Like, that is common sense stuff for a human being, for getting an NBA player right there. And for Ja specifically, like, I think what rubs me the most wrong in all of this is it feels like every time he's called on it, it's not like the look myself in the mirror, how can I be better? It's the immediate like F you attitude back. And I don't know a ton about this Grizzlies coach. His name, if I make sure I'm get it right, Tuomas Ilisalo, as I believe how you pronounce it. He's basically like one of the most like credentialed and believed in overseas coaches in plenty of time who's gotten the NBA opportunity. I was reading up on him a little bit, and he's got this like interesting principle that he talked about, and he like went in depth about it. You can find like a ton of clips of this dude talking online about like his coaching philosophies and things like that. But he talked about like, my experience as a head coach is basically what always happens is every coach is going to have guys that you don't get along with or that you think are kind of scumbags or whatever the case may be. And what tends to happen with that is you get in, finish your day, finish practice, go home, have your dinner, and you talk trash about the guy behind the scenes and kind of, that just bubbles below the surface. And he hit a point as a coach where he decided, I'm not doing that I am addressing things head on. When there's an issue with a player, when I'm not liking the way that a guy is going about his business, when I think that he's harming the team, I am taking that head first. It seems like that's what happened at halftime of that game. And the response from Ja Morant was just to directly quit on his team. That's not a player that is savable, man. That's just not.
Yeah, and to your point about the Grizzlies coach, like he comes from the European system, and in Europe, there's no star player treatment.
Yeah,
There's just not. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the best player or the worst player, you're going to get reamed out and you're going to be held accountable. So when those European coaches come over and take that approach, it's a right approach, but it's also often differs from what a lot of NBA coaches of how they approach NBA stars, because there's a lot of star treatment. But like treatment, we should qualify star treatment here. You should at least be an all-star to get star treatment. Ja Morant is not an all-star level player anymore. He's just not. Like, he's not even close to it. There's no chance he makes an all-star team or even is consideration for an all-star team this year. So we're talking about star treatment. That's who you should be looking at. Yeah, maybe 4 years ago, maybe the prospect and potential of Ja Morant was this superstar player. It's not who it's been. So yeah, you should certainly be held accountable, regardless if you're a star or not. The next part of this is the Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins last year and Noah LaRoche, which was the architect of last year's Grizzlies offense, because the offense didn't suit Ja Morant and he was complaining about the offense. And what that offense was that they completely went away from the pick and roll. They ran the fewest pick and rolls in the entire NBA last year. This is the Grizzlies I'm talking about. And that didn't suit Ja Morant. He was really upset about it. What they would run was what the Heat are running right now. And it comes full circle because Noah LaRoche, who was an assistant under Taylor Jenkins for the Grizzlies last year, is now a consultant for the Heat. And the Heat run the fewest pick and rolls in the NBA. They run this dribble drive motion offense, really fast pace. So that works for the Heat. It didn't work for Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, which I understand Ja Morant's perspective. Like, he is a pick and roll player. He's really good coming off the pick and roll. Like, he needs to get downhill for his game, and it just didn't suit him. But they got rid of that coaching staff and that system because of it didn't suit Ja Morant. And now you're unhappy with this coaching staff. It's never going to work. The guy is a disaster to be around. He's a disaster to have as the centerpiece of your organization. But the difference between him and Jimmy Butler is at least Jimmy Butler is a proven playoff resume. At least Jimmy Butler, throughout all his drama, he brought two teams to the NBA Finals. Jimmy Butler is also a guy you can just fit into a system like the Warriors system. And because of how good he is defensively and because of how smart he is, great of a cutter, all these things, he can excel in that system, which is what we're seeing with the Warriors right now. Ja Morant is not a guy you can just fit into a system. Like we talked about, really bad defender, not a good shooter. He's a guy that needs to have the ball in his hands getting downhill, but he's not producing at the level of one of these top guards in the league. So it's really like, what do you do with him? You want to trade him because you're not going to extend him, and you'd rather just get on with your rebuild at this point. If the Grizzlies, who's trading him? His market right now, there's pretty much a non-existent market for him. The value anyone would give up for Ja Morant right now is so low. Where are you going to get as a basketball team with Ja Morant as your team? Like an 8 seed, like the Grizzlies were last year, and get swept by the Thunder in the first round? That's your ceiling right now if you ever bring in Ja Morant to your organization.
By the way, have you checked his pick and roll numbers this year?
Jaws?
Yeah.
No. You got him?
He's running more pick and rolls than any player in the NBA. And he's still upset, dude. I don't know how you fix that. And like, again, you put up with it. For the Jimmy Butler example, for starters, you're right. Jimmy Butler has a more proven track record, and he is a more versatile player that you can throw him on just about any team, and he'll figure it out. He's smart enough. He's got enough basketball IQ. He's got enough different skills that he finds a way to fit in. When he's locked in, one of the best defenders in the NBA that really impacts winning there. None of these things are Ja Morant, man, and they just haven't been. So I don't know. It's a pretty unfixable situation. I feel I don't really know what you can do if you're Memphis. I feel like you just basically got to ride it out and hope for the best. I was really curious that next game. Would this be the Ja Morant looks himself in the mirror and clicks on and shows that he does have the talent to be an all-star caliber player when he's playing at his best? But we really have not seen that consistently in now several years to this point. So I don't know how this ends. I don't think he gets traded this year. I think this is just going to be one of these messes that drags out. Is that your sense, or what do you think?
Yeah, probably just because there's no market for him. If you're the Grizzlies, you hope he kind of turns it around, starts playing really well, and he builds back a market for himself, and then you can put him on the trading block, because this Grizzlies team has pretty good young pieces. Cedric Howard's been awesome this year.
He's great.
He's a revelation in this past draft. You talk about guys like Jalen Wells, Gigi Jackson even has been solid. These aren't guys you're going to build around, but of course Jaren Jackson's your centerpiece right now, and I think he's off to a good start this year, and he's still an all-star level player and a defensive centerpiece for sure, even if he has his limitations. But you have pieces to build around. Desmond Bane was the first step in getting away from this core that you're going to start breaking up. Ja Morant is the next step because it's just not working.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And the NBA always delivers with storylines, man. We never have to wait long for one of these.
It's a league full of the most interesting personalities in the world.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of two interesting personalities here, I did have to get this take off my chest, as the Sixers did play the Brooklyn Nets, and two of the more interesting personalities I'm referring to hat tip to the Brooklyn Nets for their tanking, game plan here of just putting Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Thomas on the same basketball team. I think this Nets team has a chance to break the record for most losses in a season. I really do.
Yeah, they're awful. It's and I was defending the draft a little bit.
They're all bad, man, and they barely play them.
Yeah, the Igor Demon thing is weird right now. I honestly was going to get to more of his film later this week because I haven't watched a ton of Nets games, but the box scores don't look pretty. And I'm kind of, and his minutes, he's not getting a lot of minutes. And right. I know he was injured most of training camp, came back very late in the preseason. So that's part of it. I hope he plays well because I'm still a big Igor Demon fan. He's definitely shooting better from three. But we'll see what he is. Ben Serif has been playing a lot for them, starting for them at least, even if he's not playing
Traore, Drake Powell, none of these guys are playing the minutes that I expected them to.
Yeah, and the worst part is it's the best draft ever, maybe ever, in terms of its depth. Not the top, we'll see, but in terms of its depth of how many great guys, Colin Murray Boyce has developed into a three-point shooter for the Raptors after he never shot threes for South Carolina in college. Ryan Kalkbrenner, all these guys are playing really well, and the Nets had 5 first-rounders and didn't get anyone decent. It's early. Yeah. It's early. This is about developing those guys this year and then hoping or needing to get a top 3 pick in the draft next year because they don't have a 2027 pick. So if that doesn't happen, they're just screwed. But this team right now is just awful.
Yeah, no, 100%. I will say this next draft is shaping up to be something special, man. The top 3 picks, especially Darren Peterson, AJ DeBansta, and Cam Boozer are all sick, dude. So they better luck out and get a top 3 pick. They desperately need to, and boy, they're going to give themselves every opportunity to.
Yeah, I was watching some Darren Peterson last night.
He's sick.
He's unbelievable. He's an unbelievable scorer.
Yeah, I was pretty locked in on being a Cam Boozer guy, and I like DeBansta a lot as well. Peterson, my eyes have been opened here that he may be the leader in the clubhouse. Currently at DraftKings Sportsbook, he is the odds-on leader to be the number one.
Yeah, I think the number one pick will be between him and Boozer. I don't think either like a foregone conclusion, but it's between those two guys.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a year where it will be coming down till before the draft day that people are still debating it, which I think is a good thing. I think that's awesome. It's not like Cooper Flag has been penciled in or Victor Wembanyama has been penciled in months in advance here. It's going to be competitive throughout. But nonetheless, I did detour us away from the NBA. What else do you want to hit on today, Sam?
I don't really have anything else. I think we should save some things for Thursday's show. We got the stock watch coming up, which teams are up or down. We got the East tiers. We're going to talk about some more teams in the East. We're going to talk about the Lakers and how good they've been. We got a question. Speaking of the Lakers right now, is Nick Smith Jr. better than Bronny James?
Yes.
Yes, for sure. Brian James actually gave good minutes to the Lakers last night and was in the closing lineup, like with Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, played some serious time. Nick Smith Jr. was incredible, though.
Yeah.
Nick Smith Jr. was incredible in a game. Or excuse me, that was a couple nights ago with Bronny James and those guys. But this was a game where Luka or Austin Reeves didn't play, and Nick Smith Jr. was great. And the Lakers are winning games with their bench, and we'll talk about them and then how good Jake LaRavia has been and what this means for LeBron James come back. But we'll table that for Thursday's show because we went pretty long today.
Yeah, number 3 in the NBA power rankings is absurd about the Lakers. I'll just put that out there.
I did see that. Where was that? NBA.com?
NBA.com. Get out of here with that. They have
been good. I mean, Luka's averaging 41 points per game.
Yes, I don't think they're the third best team in the NBA, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. We also we got to talk about the Rockets again too. Like they've been awesome, best offense in the NBA. Well, we got a lot to hit on Thursday. We'll go through the NBA.
Yeah, Reed Shepherd's shown a little bit of signs of life, which I like to see there. So we'll dive into all of that on the next episode of Pace and Space podcast right here on Pick Swap Media. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us today. Hopefully we'll be in better spirits, popping on not after a Sixers loss on the next one. But thank you guys for hanging. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, like and following wherever you are listening on that, whether this is Apple, Spotify, YouTube, right here on X.com, Twitter, the Everything app, wherever you're tuned in at. So appreciate you guys. And me and Sam Oshtry will be back. Talk with you next time. Peace.